प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So today we'll be reading from 10th canto, chapter 20, entitled The Rainy Season and Autumn, text number 44. Akhanda mandalo vyomni. Akhanda mandalo vyomni. Rara jodu ganai shashi. Rara jodu ganai shashi. Yatha yadupati Krishna. Yatha yadupati Krishna. Vrishni chakravrito bhuvi. Vrishni chakravrito bhuvi. Akhanda mandalo vyomni. Rara jodu ganai sashi. Yatha yadupati Krishna. Vrishni chakravrito bhuvi. Akhanda mandalo vyomni. Rara jodu ganai sashi. Yatha yadupati Krishna. Vrishni chakravrito bhuvi. Mothers. Akhanda mandalo vyomni. Rara jodu ganai sashi. Yatha yadupati Krishna. Vrishni chakravrito bhuvi. Word to word meaning. Akhanda, unbroken. Mandalaha, its sphere. Vyomni, in the sky. Raraja, shone forth. Uduganai, along with the stars. Shashi, the moon. Yatha, as. Yadupati, the master of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna, Lord Krishna, Vrishni Chakra, by the circle of Vrishnis, Avritaha, surrounded, Bhuvi, upon the earth. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The full moon shone in the sky surrounded by stars, just as Sri Krishna, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty, shone brilliantly on the earth, surrounded by all the Vrishnis. Purport. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that in Vrindavan the full moon is eternally risen, and this full moon is like the full manifestation of the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. When he was manifest on the earth, Lord Sri Krishna was surrounded by prominent members of the Vrishni dynasty such as Nanda, Upananda, Vasudeva and Akrura. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalokya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada is saying that how the personality of Supreme Personality of Godhead, He incarnates at different times in different places and in different universes. According to the nature of those places, He exhibits His unlimited potencies. But Krishna's appearance on this planet, like a human being, makes us all human beings very much fortunate than the demigods who are staying in the higher planets. Because it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishnera yathaika khela sarvottama naralila naravapu tahara swarupa. This Krishna's various wonderful pastimes are the best when he appears in the form of a human being, because he appears in different forms like Narsimha, Varaha, Kurma, various incarnations are there, but in all those it's more of grandeur than these sweet loving pastimes. But when he appears in that human form, especially as Krishna, then those sweetness of his pastimes are more enhanced. As such, in Brahma's life, which is like 4.2 billion years day and 4.2 billion years night, hardly you can say, if you calculate, it's like 10 years of his pastimes. But this is very wonderfully been described by Sukadeva Goswami in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and still more wonderfully been explained to us in this time by Srila Prabhupada, and in these cantos, by his disciples. So we are very grateful to them to give us this, to explain us these pastimes which are so rare, even for Lord Brahma, if we see his lifetime. And even Sukadeva Goswami, he tells, Parikshit Maharaj, he tells Sukadeva Goswami that you please describe me this Toka Charitam Adbhutam. Toka Charita Adbhutam means especially these pastimes of the Lord as a human being, and that also childhood pastimes, because they are so sweet. You can relish them. More and more you hear, the more and more you relish it. Because it's very easy to relate to it, because people of this world, in their worldly affairs, in their family life and all those ties of their families, they can easily relate to such things. But as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishnera samsara koro chhadi anachar. So he says, give up all your nefarious activities, all those worldly affairs, and just enter into Krishna's samsara. What is Krishna's samsara? That is Braja, the Braja samsara. Because Braja is filled, there are no renunciants there. It's all filled with another people of samsara, like another family members, so many family people with all family members. But they are completely renounced, because they have renounced all type of desires, all type of happiness, all type of, their own happiness, distress, their own family, of everything they have renounced. Because the greatest power of a jiva is to desire. And all those desires they have given up just for the pleasure of Lord Shri Krishna. So that is why these Vrajvasis are accepted to be the great renunciants, even by great renunciants like Sukadeva Goswami, because of their giving up their desires, their own personal desires. Like in today's purport, we find, four Vrishnis, four personalities being mentioned in the purport. So we'll try to see Krishna Lila through them, through their lives. Like Vasudeva and Devaki, actually they both performed austerities as Sutapa and Vrishni, for many years. And imagine now Krishna is born, and it doesn't take even seconds, for Vasudeva to decide, that immediately he responds to Krishna's will, and he is ready to take him away from him. If we would have been in that place, we would have thought, let me ask Krishna, that give me some time, let's have some pastime with. But now here he immediately responds to his will. There is no hesitation at all. So, because people of this world, they perform various activities. They put a lot of efforts to achieve something. And they very much want the results, and they very much want to enjoy those results. But the scriptures, it's something like entering into the mall of a big world, material world, and you go for fetching out your products of happiness. But what you get at the end is only distress. Because Krishna has already named it, no? Although they advertise it, like they advertise in the mall, in the windows, they advertise it, it's all very good, it's all, full of happiness. But already Krishna has named it, Dukhalayam Ashashwaram. So at the end, what we get is only distress. Though we try to fetch out for happiness, the product of happiness. But scriptures tell us that instead of fetching out for the product of happiness, you enter that mall, no problem, you can enter that mall. But when you enter that mall, don't look out for the product of happiness, but look out for the product of something called as service. Because when you look out for that and you try to get that, when you go to the billing counter, what you will be given is an extra gift along with it, and that is called happiness. But of course that you come to know after many lifetimes, not so soon. So, actually there is a very great dynamism, between the devotees of the Lord and Krishna, because devotees of the Lord takes all efforts to please Krishna. And Krishna in reciprocation wants to give them all happiness. He wants to bombard them with all the happiness. Like, we sing in this, Iti driksva lila vir ananda kunde, swaghosham nimajjantam akyapayantam. He is nimajjantam, he is drowning them in the ocean of ever bliss, ever expanding bliss. So this is what is Braja Samsar. They are all together thinking, feeling, willing, everything is only for pleasure of Krishna. And in reciprocation, Krishna is drowning them in the ocean of ecstasy by his wonderful pastimes. So Krishna tells Vasudeva, now you take me to Braj. So immediately he picks him up and he's ready to take him without even, that second thought of, give me some time, at least have some pastime with me. No, nothing, okay, chalo. Actually, that's the difference, Karmis, they only focus on the activity. They only want to focus on the journey. Ekla chalo re, that's famous song, na, Rabindranath Tagore. They only think about the journey, that just we have to go. And we just follow all the rules and regulations. We want to be the goody person, and we just want to, be a very dharmic, good person, no committing any bad activity for others. And that's how, we will be good, and we'll just go on through this journey of life. So their whole idea is all about the journey of life. And the Mayavadis, on the other hand, for them everything is about the journey. Even if it's all about the destination, even though their journey may be very tortuous, but main thing is destination, because they want to reach the destination that's called Brahmajyoti, the Brahmapur, the station, but they are only interested in the station, Brahmapur. There is no city, it's only the station, and they are interested only in the station. But the devotees, on the other hand, are interested in both the journey as well as the destination. So Vasudeva, he picks up Krishna and he's leaving for Braj. And it's something like, picking up Krishna is like Prabhupada gave us, this morning program. He gave us this morning program to pick, so that we can also pick up Krishna in our minds, in our thinking, feeling, willing, in our consciousness. We pick up Krishna through our morning practices. And what happened when Vasudeva picked up Krishna? Immediately his shackles loosened. Immediately he was free from all the shackles, and all the doors, all the obstacles, they opened up. So like that, when we pick up Krishna early in the morning, through our serious sadhana, all our obstacles, all our shackles with which we are bound, our anarthas, they also will loosen like that. I remember there is one favorite pastimes of Prabhupada, everybody must be knowing about this, that this devotee's father, he was also struggling through these four-legged principles because he was not able to give up smoking. And then Prabhupada asked him that, so how are you doing? Have you given up smoking? He says, no, Prabhupada, I am still struggling with it and I require some special mercy. And then Srila Prabhupada says, do you know what does it mean, special mercy in scriptures? And what Prabhupada said? What Prabhupada said? Yasyaham anugrihinami harishye tad dhanam shanai. That if you want special mercy of Krishna, then it means two things. That when he shows you special mercy, first thing he'll do is take away all your wealth. And next thing is, all your relatives and friends and family members will abandon you. So do you require it? He says, no, I think I'll do it on my own self. So this is how there is a special mercy of Krishna. So we pick up Krishna in our minds, and all our if we pick up like that, all our anathas also will loosen up, so that we can also go through our journey very easily. So he picks up Krishna, he takes and he crosses Yamuna. Yamuna gives his way. All the obstacles are getting one by one side, and he can easily cross Yamuna, goes on the other side, goes to Nanda Maharaj's Bhavan, places Krishna. Yashoda is fast asleep. He places Krishna, he picks up Maya and he comes back. Now when he's coming back, now Krishna is not there, Maya is there. So many acharyas comment, how is it that now Maya is there with him and still Yamuna gave him the way? How is it? That's because it is explained that once you have served Krishna personally, once you have touched Krishna, served Krishna personally, and in that service to Krishna, even when you touch Maya, Maya will not affect you. That's the speciality of service to Krishna. So maturity actually means that you got connected to Krishna in service. And you are connected to Krishna in service, you celebrate it. You celebrate that how wonderful is this service, how wonderful is the association of devotees in which you are serving Krishna. It's all very blissful, it's all very celebrating. And at the same time, this celebration is transformed in the heart through compassion, that you want to also share this compassion with others. And this is called as maturity in service. And service actually means you want to please Krishna, you want to please his devotees. And this is the mood of all his servants. They want to please each other, they want to please Krishna. So here we see Krishna is right there, and after some time when Nanda Maharaj comes there, when Nanda Maharaj sees Krishna, he is very happy. And we know his happiness is expressed the next day in the form of Nanda Utsav. There is a wonderful description about how he celebrates Nanda Utsav. Sukadeva Goswami very wonderfully describes it all. And there is a very important point that Sukadeva Goswami says, there's Nandas tu Atmaja Utpanne. He says, Nandas tu, this two word is very wonderfully been explained by many acharyas. There is a very important significant point there, that remember all the austerities, everything is been done by Vasudeva and Devaki, and now they have to immediately give up Krishna. And who is the one who is now going to relish the sweet pastimes of Krishna? Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. So that's how they're saying, that two word, Nandas tu Atmaja Utpanne, that two has a lot of meaning. Why he used that word two, how he is now going to enjoy all those pastimes. He is going to serve Krishna personally there in his childhood pastimes. Atmaja Utpanne, Jata Allahado Mahamana. He is called Mahamana. He is giving great pleasure. Shri Shri Radhadas Bihari ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this great Nanda Maharaj, he is going to celebrate this great Utsav because Krishna is born to him. And that's seen in the next day, that how he celebrates this great Utsav. Mahamana, Nanda Maharaj, how he celebrates it by giving clothing, ornaments, cows in charity to all the cowherd men. And it's all done just to please Lord Vishnu. This is how Srila Prabhupada translated. And thus he improved the condition of his own son in all respects. He distributed charity to the Sutas, the Magadas, the Vandis, and men of all other professions, according to their educational qualification, and satisfied everyone's desires. Even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, this is how one celebrates, this is how one shares that compassion, this is how, by giving others, this is how one celebrates. But in the material world, everybody is in a rush to grab the opportunity, or rather than grab, they want to steal others' opportunities. They want to take them away from their post, their positions of service, and they want to place themselves higher than other people. This is what very much happens in this material world. But in 6th canto, Chitraketu Maharaj, he says that it's like Guna Pravaha Etasmin. It's in the 6th canto, 17th chapter, 20th verse. That how this material world is like a fast-moving river. And the modes, the three modes are like those big waves, tossing us up and down in this material world. And that's how everybody he sometimes comes up, sometimes goes down, sometimes happiness, sometimes distress. It just goes on and on and on. I remember once Darshan Prabhu very beautifully, he explained one wonderful story of how what's the condition of people in this material world, as if, he gives an example of two boys, they are two friends, they are both walking along the river bank. And then suddenly one of the friends, he sees somebody, it looks like somebody is drowning. So when he sees, it looks like some black hair, flowing. So he thinks, it must be a beautiful woman. Let me go and catch him and save her, and then I can enjoy her further. And so he jumps in the river, and soon he does not come out. His other friend, he finds out, there is some problem, why he's not coming back. And then he finds out that he's also drowned in that, because that black hair was nothing but the black bhalu, the black beard, So he mistook it with the hairs of some beautiful woman, and that bhalu caught him and drowned him again deep inside, and like that, he had to meet his death. So it's something like that. We may try to be very expert, in trying to grab the opportunity to find some happiness in this material world, but it doesn't work like that. We may show our expertise in that, but material world, Maya is much more cunning. She is much more intelligent how to drown you into it. So one has to be extremely careful. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains there that how it's very important that one understands that, like there's some, okay, I'll explain it when other points come up. So we see here that how Nanda Maharaj, he's very happy by giving various gifts in charity, and through these various gifts he's trying to actually make everything very auspicious in that way. And here it is also said that how Rohinecha Mahabhaga Nanda Gopala Anandita. Here it is said Rohini is Mahabhaga. How Rohini is Mahabhaga? That's a very important question, because Rohini is actually away from Vasudevji. She is here away from her husband. And how she is called Mahabhaga? Because why Sukadeva Goswami commented her as Mahabhaga? She being away, and just not Mahabhaga, but here it is said that Nanda Maharaj, because he was giving a lot of gifts to everybody, he also gave wonderful ornaments, clothing to Rohini, and Rohini wore all of those ornaments, and she shone so brilliant and so beautiful in all those ornaments and beautiful attire. So one may say, it's according to Dharma, a woman away from her husband should not decorate herself beautifully. But here we see Rohini, she is part of that celebration. She has decorated herself properly, and she being part of that celebration, she's like fully blissful, enjoying. Because for her, more important dharma is to celebrate the appearance of Krishna. That is much more important. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that points there, that how one should find good in every opportunity, in every situation. He should find something good. Like here, Rohini is not just crying that, my husband is there and I'm here like that. No, she sees like, the best opportunity is here. Krishna has been born and she is happy with all other Brajvasis. So one should cultivate this mood, how to find happiness in any of the situation, find good in any of the situation. And if you see, one should understand that no situation ever remains bad. Things change. Things always change. So we have to see Krishna's hand in each and every situation. Whatever happens, we should see Krishna's hand in it. And ultimately, we have to change our attitude. Like Rohini. Rohini's attitude was that she wanted to serve Krishna. She wanted to be part of those celebrations, serving Krishna, being a part of that happiness, being a part of service to that whole celebrations. So this is how she developed that attitude of service rather than being morose for her husband. So this is how the whole atmosphere was surcharged with celebrations. Anyway, there's wonderful ways of how these celebrations happened, that how they were, smearing wonderful colors were put in butter and yogurt, and they were smearing off and they were putting on each other. And I mean, these all celebrations are like, we cannot imagine now in our days, when we will ever be able to do such kind of celebrations, with all the butter and ghee and everything being poured and splashed on each other. It's a complete different way of celebrating this Nanda Utsav. So we see this side how everybody is in bliss in celebrations, and on the other side, Nanda Maharaj goes to pay his respects to Maharaj Kamsa by giving, they give timely their whatever gifts they give, and they have to pay some taxes and all. So he goes. And when Vasudevji comes to know that Nanda Maharaj is here, he immediately goes to meet him at his place. But the problem is that Nanda Maharaj is in such a situation that he cannot express directly and ask, Nanda Maharaj that how is my son? He cannot express that openly. But at the same time, he wants to know whether, he knows that he is my son and whether he knows that he is there. So he's very, very careful about when Nanda Maharaj meets Vasudev, he is very, very careful because he cannot open his heart. At the same time, he wants to know that, whether they are all okay. Whether he knows um, that he is my son. So all the time as he is meeting Nanda Maharaj, he is thinking all the time about Krishna. And in that, he is very careful about how he is supposed to speak to Krishna. Now, in this one point, we come to know that one has to be very, but at the same time, see, Vasudev ji, though very careful about how to speak and how to inquire from Nanda Maharaj, he is also very careful that he is not very duplicit with Nanda Maharaj, because Nanda Maharaj is devotee of the Lord. Like, we sometimes have to be, when we have to go for yatras and all, how devotees, they speak half truth to their bosses, and somehow they'll tell some disease has happened, or this uncle or this auntie is gone back to Godhead. So these things, they speak half truth like that way, somehow to get every Diwali that germs enter in them, and so these things happen. But we have to be very careful. Don't try to spin the ball with devotees in the devotee circle. Don't do that. With devotees you have to be open. With devotees you have to be very truthful. Don't try to dodge your authorities in this way. You have to be very careful, otherwise. So here Vasudev is not doing like that. He is at the same time very open. He very nicely inquires from Nanda Maharaj. He's saying that how greatly fortunate are you, because even at that advanced stage, you are so fortunate that the Lord's mercy is upon you and you have been born, a son is born to you. So he is it's not like Vasudev is thinking, अरे ये मेरा लड़का, वो लेके चला गया, उसका पास चला गया और मैं इधर दुखी हूँ और वो कितना सुखी है. He is not calculating it like that. He is rather very wonderfully, very graciously, he is admiring to the great fortune of Maharaj Nanda. He is saying, Dishtaya Bhrata Pravayasya Dishtaya. What a great fortune, Dishtaya. What a great fortune, Nanda Maharaj, that, at that age also, Krishna is born to you. And Dishtaya Samsara Chakre Asmin Vartamanha Punar Bhava. Here he is telling a very important point. He is telling that how it's also by good fortune that I am seeing you. Because having obtained this great fortune, I feel as if I've taken birth again. And he's saying that even though one is present in this world, to meet with intimate friends and dear relatives in this material world is extremely difficult. So he gives here a very important point. He says that Naikatra Priya Samvasaha. There are many, there are many planks and many sticks which flow together in the river. And in the waves of the river, they sometimes come together, sometimes they go away. So like that, so many times friends, family members, they all stay together at one point of time, but due to some karmic reaction, sometimes they have to all go away from each other. So in this way, he is expressing also that unhappiness, that how we were all together, but now due to this crew Kamsa, we have to now all go away. Our whole family has been, apart from each other. So he's mentioning, in many ways, there is a lot of reciprocations in between. And at the end, he mentions it to Maharaj Nanda, that you have to be very careful, because we have heard there are a lot of demons and a lot of plots going on by Kamsa. So he is warning him that please go back again, as soon as possible, because there can be threat in Braja. So you should go as soon as possible. So when Nanda Maharaj goes back from, hearing Vasudev ji, when he goes back, he sees what he sees back. When he comes back, he sees Putna there. So then he thinks, I think Vasudev is a very great astrologer. How he calculated, that there can be great danger. Please go back. There is one very important point to be addressed here, is that we see on one side there is a great concern by Vasudev, And there is a great hope and confidence in Nanda Maharaj that yes, everything is okay there. Because even in Ramayana, if you see, Sita Maya had a great concern when she heard the cry of Sita, Sita, which actually Marich did. But when she heard that, she had a great concern that how is Ram? And on the other side, Lakshman was completely confident that ये क्या है छोटा मोटा मच्छर है demons क्या है nothing for Lord Ramchandra why to worry, let it happen, let's see, no, don't worry anything, not to worry. So he was completely confident. On the other side, Mother Sita was completely concerned. So sometimes, this is a very important point to be noted here, that sometimes it can happen that there can be a conflict between a bona fide devotees, with bona fide intention, but there is a conflict between concern and confidence. So these things can also happen. So one has to be very careful. Both are bona fide servants, both have a bona fide intention, but there is a conflict here about the concern and confidence. That's one very important point to be understood here. So when he goes back, he sees Putna is here, and he understands, Hare, Vasudeva may be a great astrologer. How he knew that all very well. So then, of course, Nanda Maharaj is back here with his son Krishna, but there Vasudeva is all the time, thinking only about Krishna's welfare, that how Krishna will, whether Krishna will be okay, whether Krishna will be taken care properly. He all the time is thinking about, and also the time is coming where we are saying Krishna, but that time Krishna's name, he was not being named as Krishna. So he is also thinking about, Are, I am Kshatriya, my son's name should be, Namkaran should be done within 100 days. So he's thinking also about that. With that intention, he tells Gargamuni that, you please go there, to name my child. Because for the Vaishya like Nanda Maharaj, it's okay, he can also give the name after 100 days also. But for my son, it's not good, because that's the proper ritual. So he sends Gargamuni that you please go, you name my child. So when he goes there and when he approaches there to Nanda Maharaj is also all the time thinking, what about naming these children? And when he sees the great Acharya coming there, he's very happy. Very happily he is receiving him. And he is addressing him, Mahad Vicharanam Nirnam Grihinam Dinachetasam. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another, not for their own interest, but for the sake of poor-hearted grihasthas. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. This is a very important point here, that why do devotees actually travel? Why these great Mahabhagavats, they travel from one place to another, meeting householders who are householders in a sense that meeting those who are completely immersed in the samsar sukh. Why they do that? Because they want to approach them and infuse them with the knowledge which helps them to expand their understanding of what is life all about. Life is not about just life, it's not about just between birth and death. It is something beyond it. There is something more to achieve. So to enlighten the conditioned souls like that, these great souls, they travel from place to place. So like that, these great souls, they also travel. So Nanda Maharaj is welcoming him. You are great souls, you are traveling for this very purpose. Otherwise, what is the use of your coming to householders like us? Because you are great renunciates, you have given up all these things. One nice pastime I remember here is one very nice pastime. In the Russian army, there was this one major, and he was also sort of he was interested in Eastern philosophy, in Eastern yoga practices and all. He was a little interested. So he knew some of his soldiers under him who are also like that practicing some kind of yoga. So he called once, so they happened to be devotees there. And he called them. So they were very, they were a little frightened, like what will happen, if he comes to know something. So then he called them, they came, they sat there, and he started speaking to them, that how, that I heard that you all are practicing some kind of yoga. And then they are like very, they're a little scared, that what will happen, if he comes to know. So then he asked them that, don't worry, I am also very much interested in such kind of yoga practices, especially about this Eastern yoga and these things in India. So do you know something like that? Are you practicing something like that? So then, our devotees, they just want an opportunity. Immediately they start. So they opened Gita, they gave him the Gita, and they, started preaching to him about this thing. And they gave him this Gita, and they said, every day, you read at least one page every day. And he said, okay. But he is a major general and they have a lot of responsibilities. So as time went on, our devotees, they are very expert in follow-ups. So, so they kept on, pada kya. So at one point of time, that man said, he said, Arik, I have to respond to them, something I have to respond to them. So let's read something about it, So he started reading those translations. So he went on reading those translations, and then when they once again came and asked him, they said, he said, yes, I have read the Gita. So that night when he went to sleep, Srila Prabhupada came in his dream and he said, the purports are also very good, why don't you read them? So Mahad Vicharanam Nirnam, they are not what do you call, they are not, space and time cannot limit them. They are beyond space and time. It's just that we don't know who will be the recipient, the immediate next recipient, but they are there and they are all the time moving around. It's just that if we make ourselves, the best recipients of their mercy, even we can have it even still today. It's not that they're gone, no, they are still there. And they are moving like that for the welfare of mankind in this material world. So, so like that, we see, then Gargamuni tells him that, but I am the, you're such a, because Nanda Maharaj is glorifying him, you're such a great astrologer, you know all about the movements of the stars and the planets and everything, and you are the best person who can name our children, so why don't you do that? And then he says that, no, I have to be also very careful, because if I do this thing very openly, then maybe Kamsa, if he comes to know, because he sends his spies everywhere, and if he comes to know, he will immediately doubt whether this is Nanda Maharaj's sons. So then it can be a problem for your children's. So then he says, okay, and then they go in a in a cowshed, and there he names them Krishna and Balaram. So anyway, it continues, and of course there are other two members also. As we know, Upananda also is mentioned in the purport, and Upananda was the first person to actually tell the Vrajvasis, especially Nanda Baba, that no, we should not remain here, because there are a lot of demons who are timely attacking. So let's move from Gokul to Vrindavan. So he's the one first to mention that, let's move on the other side. And another person mentioned in Akrura, but if I have to tell about Akrura, it will take another half an hour. So Akrura is also mentioned for Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. In the ninefold devotional practices, he is very much famous for Vandanam. Because he did wonderful prayers, when he went to, actually on the order of Kansa only, he came to take away Krishna from Vraja. And when he was going to Vraja, he dipped in those waters of Yamuna, where the Lord gave him Sakshat Darshan, and he gave wonderful prayers. So he is very famous for those prayers. And anyway, I would like to halt here. If anybody wants to say anything, want to contribute anything, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the nice class. You mentioned a very nice point about conflict between concern and confidence. So two devotees having genuine intentions, they may have a conflict due to this concern and confidence. But then who should bend? When we face some situations like this, then we think, okay, he should understand the situation, he will bend, and the other party thinks the same way. So how to decide that who should bend?
Better go to conflict resolution team and decide it. Ramaprabhu, you want to comment? Yeah, like in Mother Sita and Lakshmana's case, Lakshmana had to bend.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So,
Hare Krishna.
can I say something on this point? So, this is a very nice point, because we see many times when we go to meet our Guru Maharaj, he has so much concern for the movement and different services. And sometimes, because senior devotees, they are in, like we are in technology, current generation is much closer to technology, they know more about it. So, our elders, they show some concern, or we are confident that this is how it will be done, ho jayega, koi problem nahi hai, but still because they are very concerned, so we should bend actually, because those who are juniors, they should understand that their concern is unnecessary, we should not give them tension. So even though we are very confident ki everything is all right, but still because he is very concerned, senior is very concerned about the service, hua ki nahi hua, so I should make sure that he is feeling okay, ki nahi, it will be done. So in my opinion, that if concern and confidence is conflicting, so one who is junior, he should serve the senior with that mood that I am his servant, he has concern, so let me pacify him, or he should not feel stressed out, even though I know that situation is under control. So that is how.
Good.
Actually, in the case of Sita and Lakshman, Sita was completely wrong. So that is why one of the mistakes, she herself agrees that I am suffering because I have abused a very godly my brother, in fact my brother-in-law. So later on she tells Hanuman, she told Hanuman that because I have offended a great devotee like Lakshman, I am suffering like this. So sometimes somebody may be junior, but Lakshman, he was more confident about Rama's powers. But even though Lord Rama, Lakshman, he backed away and then he went. But when Ramchandra saw him, he was extremely angry. Extremely angry. So when usually Lakshman would go and embrace Ramchandra, then he would also embrace him and pat him on his back. But as soon as Rama saw Lakshman, Rama was exhibiting, fire. So when Lakshman embraced him, he didn't touch him and then he didn't speak to him. He was extremely angry. So the person, even though he is confident, but if he had Ramchandra chastised him, saying that, you rascal, I have ordered you not to move from the ashram. Why did you move? But when Lakshman was saying, Sitaji was abusing me like this, Rama would have none of it. He would not even hear. He was extremely angry. Why? He was trying to explain, no, Sitaji was saying like that, it was going on. So, even though somebody is confident and all, if he had a higher order, authority, he should not budge.
Yeah, very good. True. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nicely you explained all the pastimes with the practical meanings. Can you please explain that thing you are telling, like how Vasudeva is taking Krishna, and then when Vasudeva is returning, Maya is with him, but still Yamuna gave the way. So, like, what things you are teaching from that part?
Oh yeah, that point where acharyas are commenting that though Maya is, when he was carrying Krishna, Yamuna gave the way because Krishna had to go on the other side. But on the back way, it's Maya with him. It's not Krishna. So still why Maya, why way was given? Yamuna departed and then again way was given to him to come back. That's because they are explaining that Maya will not create any kind of obstacle because he was in service of Krishna. He was already taken in service. He has touched Krishna. He has served Krishna. So such a person who is in service of Krishna, completely in mercy of Krishna, Maya will not touch him. Though he touches Maya, nothing will happen to him. That's the important point. That's called Yukta Vairagya. Actually, that's called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means not just playing around frivolously, no. Yukta Vairagya means really you're engaged in the service of Krishna and that protection is there from Krishna, and only then can you also touch Maya, but it will not affect. But otherwise one has to be very careful because just in the name of Yukta Vairagya, if you try to indulge in things which may think that we will, it's okay, sometimes devotees are very casual at times, so then there is a great chance that Maya will immediately show you her power and your position. So one has to be very careful.
After some time, again he Bedia ban jata, but lag jata hai. So then Radha Govinda says, see, if you have caught Krishna and then left him and then catch Maya, that's what will happen. Maya pakad le. Wapas bediya ban lag jayega.
Wapas bedi lag gaya. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Puja. I have a question. First of all, thank you so much, Puja, very enlightened class. And you have said so much passion of Lord Krishna. Especially, I like that you mentioned that when Vasudeva ji pick up Krishna, at that time immediately all cycles open. Similarly for us, and when we attend the morning program, so all our illusion or anarthas will go on. So in the beginning, Puja, you have mentioned that Brajvasis are more closer or fortunate because they are directly getting association of Krishna and they have no desire. They have no desire, but even they are more important than Sukadeva Goswami. I think you have said that. Okay, so that portion I am not understand ki Sukadeva Goswami have no any desire. Okay, how?
No, what point I wanted to mention was that they are accepted as great renunciants, though they are all householders. There is no renunciant there. They are all householders. But why they are considered great renunciants? Because they have renounced the desires of personal want. Because we all are filled with desires for our personal wants, our personal happiness. But for them, there is no. For them, misery means misery. Any problem to Krishna is their misery. Not that their own misery is no misery for them. Anything nice they want to prepare, not for our own happiness, but only for Krishna. When they go for Gocharan Lila in the morning, they prepare nice laddus and different sweets. So what for? It's actually they put it in the tiffin box and saying give it to Krishna. And sometimes they make something special just for Krishna only. So the whole mood of Vraja is like that. It's only for the pleasure of Krishna. And that's why, though they are all family people surrounded with their very typical opulences, still they are called by these great renunciants as the most renounced people of the world.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. ओके ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, तय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।